Welcome back! Thanks for stopping by my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing, rating, and giving facts on my favorite movie of all time and my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Predator. Predator came out in 1987, 2 years before I was born. Little fact there. This movie is stacked with a cast. Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Sonny Landham, Shane Black, Jesse the Body Ventura. Just stacked. Awesome. Well, this cast has good chemistry together. They're acting superb, especially together. You really feel like these guys are soldiers in the jungle and like they have this camaraderie. It's just freaking great. A little bit about this movie. So this movie from all the actors was a nightmare to make. Not that like the studio was a nightmare or the director was a nightmare, but just where it was filmed. They filmed in Mexico in the freaking jungle and they just said it was horrible. Kevin Peter Hall reprises his first role as the Predator, and he described it as filming a survival movie more than an actual sci-fi action horror film, because between takes they literally had to peel leeches off of their bodies and put more mosquito spray on, and it was just a horrible experience, even though in the end when he saw the final product he was glad that he did it. So we're going to go for this amazing ride. I hope you like it just as much as I like this movie. I love this freaking movie. Let's get on with the show.
A team of special forces led by Major Dutch Schaefer are ordered to come in to assist a CIA man, Colonel Al Dillon, who is a Dutch's old buddy from back in the Army days. While being briefed on this mission, his superiors tell him that Dillon will be accompanying him on that mission. He is not happy about this because his team always works alone. At this point, he realizes that there's something else going on here.
So, fact on the actors. If you know anything about Jesse the Body Ventura, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Carl Weathers, you know that in the movies they've been in or in the businesses they've been in, their bodies are just freaking jacked and ripped. So the whole time, this entire time that they're filming, they would wake up early as hell and they would just start lifting weights and work out, and they would try to outdo each other every time. So that iconic freaking, oh, Dillon, you son of a bitch, and like the arm wrestling thing in the air, that was their type of thing. That was their thing. The original script had them shaking hands and then squeezing hands and seeing who has like the better grip strength. But Schwarzenegger and Weathers came up with the idea of flexing to show their muscles off and stuff like that, which is an iconic 80s scene. Let's get on with the show.
Major Dutch Schaefer, CIA agent Dillon, and Dutch's team load into the helicopter and head to South America to rescue some U.S. delegates from the local guerrilla militia.
Little fact about this scene. So Hawkins, the guy with the glasses, or the actor Shane Black, in the original script, they were supposed to have these corny ass 80s jokes. You know, just like stuff that people have always heard before. And Billy is a Native American, so it's supposed to be kind of like, oh, you know, he's never heard this before, so he'll find it funny. But Shane Black thought that was stupid, so he said he's going to improvise jokes. And then that's the jokes that you hear in this movie. Both in the helicopter scene, and then the scene after they take over the village. But, of course, they're still not funny. Like, not even in the slightest. That's a little fact about that scene.
When Dutch and his team arrive in South America, they quickly head to their objective. But what they come across is nothing like they've ever seen before. A bunch of skinned bodies. And they realize that this is another Special Forces team. Someone that Dutch had known. Dutch asks Billy what happened here. Billy says that he can't explain it.
Okay, a little fact of why this dialogue should be appreciated has to do with the script. So in the original first script, it was only supposed to be one Special Forces dude doing this mission and against the creature. So when they did that, they're like, okay, well, they still had the type of dialogue, like looking at bullets, oh, I don't know where they're going. So they're like, oh, let's have a Navajo Indian be it. And they're like, no, that's stupid. No one's going to want to watch that because, you know, no one wants to see that. Or at that time, I don't really give a fuck. But they called in Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're like, hey, wanting to do this part. It's like, okay, the plot sounds good, but we should have a team of special forces because just me doing it by myself makes me seem like a superhero, and that's dumb and that's too not realistic. Even though there's aliens, I mean, come on. But still. But the original script was adapted into a novel called Predator: Big Game. Predator goes to, I think, New Mexico or Nevada or something like that, and it's an ex-special forces guy, and he's a Navajo, and he comes home, and the Predator starts just fucking terrorizing his hometown, and then it comes down to him and the Predator, and it's just really good. It's probably one of the only books I've ever freaking read, like, intently. Like, I stuck my nose in that shit. Predator novels are actually really good. But, yeah, that's a little fact about how the script was supposed to be and why this works so much better, because the cast is just great and the chemistry is fantastic.
Dutch and his team reach the objective and find that the guerrillas are killing the hostages. They waste no more time and instantly attack the village, giving it everything that they have.
Okay, so some facts about this scene, which was pretty freaking intense, and this is like, this right here, this scene alone lets you think that it's just an action film, a normal army action film. But regardless, so the gun that Blaine has, that's Jesse Ventura, the dude with the cowboy hat, that is a freaking minigun. It goes on helicopters. They actually bought a minigun from a scrapyard for a helicopter and modified it. They modified it and they put the stupid little fucking chain on, or the slide on into the backpack that had blanks in it, right? But it was powered by an electric cord to the backpack that ran down his pants. They actually had to slow down the firing speed of the gun because how fast it spun, you would not see the barrel spinning. That, and because they wanted to, save on the consumption of blanks for shot takes, or else, it'd spend more money. That's that. And the scene where Schwarzenegger fucking takes his machete and thwops that dude and says, "Stick around," that was improvised as well. In the script, when he throws the machete, he just looks at him and then continues about his business. But Schwarzenegger, being the king of one-liners, especially in the 80s, he made that up himself. There's also another scene after that I didn't include in this, where he kicks down a door and he says, "Knock, knock." Like, how fucking corny, right? Like, that was him too. This whole movie, a lot of things that characters improvised because they wanted to have fun, and they were in a horrible environment, and they're like, "I want to do this, so can I do it? I can't? Well, too bad, I'm going to do it anyways." And it worked out. I'm going to talk about more improvisation inside this movie, because a lot of the characters came up with their own ideas, and the crew just freaking went with it. So did the director. Worked out, didn't it?
Once the mission is done and the guerrillas are all but destroyed, Dutch realizes that this entire operation was a setup and is disappointed in his friend Dylan. On the way out, Billy senses that they are being watched, that something has been following them. And his senses are right.
Okay, so a few facts about this scene. The scene that I showed where Billy looks back and looks at the woods is shortly after he laughs at one of Hawkins' jokes. He looks back not because he senses somebody. I mean, in the movie you think so, but if you have surround sound and you turn that volume all the way up, or if you saw this in theaters, which I didn't because I wasn't alive yet, you can faintly hear his laugh again. And that's the Predator mimicking his laugh. And that's why he looks, because he laughs and you can hear his echo. The echo goes away, but then you hear his laugh again. And so that's why he looks back, because he's like, what the fuck? Also, the scene where you see the Predator hand and he grabs a scorpion, the scorpion that he grabs is indeed real. On set, a lot of venomous snakes and bugs and scorpions and spiders would invade because they're in the freaking jungle, right? So they found a scorpion, actually, and they used it because originally the Predator was supposed to go to one of the dead and, like, wipe the blood and look at it, but the Predator goes to the Scorpion and looks at it, and they thought that was more ominous. Because, I mean, in the other movies you've seen, why would a Predator be even freaking interested in a Scorpion, or why would he grab it? But yeah, that's how that how that ended up playing out, because they're like, yo, let's do this will be more ominous. And it is very iconic, because if you've never seen this movie before, you have no idea what the fuck Predators are, and the first time you see that hand just go, you're like, oh shit. I remember I thought that when I was a kid. Let's get out the show.
On the way to the rendezvous point, Anna finds the opportunity to get away. Hawkins soon chases after her. Now separated from the rest of the team, the creature stalking them has the perfect opportunity to attack. When interrogating Anna on what happened, Dutch realizes that none of the gear was taken. Weapon or radio, Dylan realizes the same thing happened to Hopper.
Okay, so about the special effects. So this is the first time that you see the creature or the Predator in the film cloaked. So it's not really all computer like you would believe nowadays how it's done. Like in the recent Predator movies, it's basically computer, because when they're cloaked, you can still see the details of the Predator. But in this film, it's just like mirrored refracted image. So what they did is they had Kevin Peter Hall, the guy that plays the Predator, put a red suit on, and the red suit gave like the outline or the of the Predator, no detail really. When they shot that, they removed him with chroma key techniques, and then they shot the same take, him doing the same thing with a 30% wider lens, without any crew there, without crew or actors. So when they combined the takes together, it would show the empty space, and then they just layered it on top of each other. And that's how you get that, how it's kind of bending light or bending the images around it to appear cloaked. I thought that was pretty cool when I saw that in the special features, because, back then, making someone just disappear but yet still be there, kind of hard to do with a computer, because, CGI sucked at that time. But I thought that was very clever. Kudos to them, the special effects team.
When searching for Hawkins' body, the creature takes down Blaine. Mac runs to his aid and catches a glimpse of the creature. As he freaks out, he grabs Blaine's minigun and starts shooting. The rest of the team joins in, not knowing what's going on, and unloads everything that they have.
Now, a fact about this scene. First of all, I love this scene. This scene is freaking epic. It makes you want to go and get a freaking gun and just start shooting shit, because they're just unloading all these bullets. But fact is, they're not unloading bullets at all. Of course not. It's a movie. They're all blanks. What they're shooting is all blanks. But, that's ruined the movie. But it's still impressive with the special effects, because they wired thousands and thousands of tiny explosives all over the jungle. It took 2 weeks, and they had them all set on a timer and sequenced on where to blow and everything. Even the grenade launcher, everything was sequenced. It took 2 weeks just to wire a freaking 30-second scene of branches breaking and stuff like that. Still badass, and it's very convincing to me. So it should be convincing to you, but that's a little fact.
After examining Blaine's body, Dutch asks Mac, what did this? Mac says he saw something, he doesn't know what did this. Pancho comes back to tell Dutch and the other guys that they didn't find any bodies and no blood, that they hit nothing. But Anna notices something that they don't.
So another special effects fact. The blood of the Predator is ultimately glow sticks and KY jelly. What I want to know is who the hell was like, yo, dude, I can't come up with how to make this blood. Yo, dude, let's go try some KY jelly. Or was it like, yo, I got some KY jelly in my bag. You want to try that? But I bet you didn't know that KY jelly was made for the Predator blood.
After a successful kill, and evading the remaining soldiers, the creature gathers himself and tends to his wounds to prepare for his next assault.
Another fact. This movie is an hour and 46 minutes long. That's including the credits. The Predator only has 8 minutes of screen time. That's cloaked and uncloaked. Only 8 minutes. So that's why in this one you appreciate it so much more when you even catch glimpses of the Predator. And then once it finally reveals itself, you're just like, damn.
As night falls, their perimeter defenses are tripped, but is nothing but a mere wild boar. They realize Anna might be missing, but Anna is frozen in fear, and Blaine's body is gone. Pondering on how Blaine's body could have been taken from underneath them, Dutch realizes that they're being killed one at a time. Billy tells him just like a hunter. That's when Dutch realizes he's using the trees.
Another fact, so the original script, the movie was called Hunter. That's why Billy says, like a hunter. That was supposed, because when a movie, whatever the title, it's usually put into the movie at some point, whether it's in dialogue or whatever. That's what that was supposed to be like, oh shit, that's the title of the movie. That kind of moment you always have. But no. When they changed the title to Predator is when they changed the costume design. Also because they thought it sounded cooler, which it really does. I mean, if you saw Schwarzenegger on a poster and it was all infrared and it said Hunter, you'd be kind of like, I guess. I'm just going to see it because it's Schwarzenegger now. But then it says Predator, you're like, oh, shit, yeah. But besides that, they thought that they should change that line, like a predator. I mean, we know what a predator is now in the movie industry. It's that alien. So yeah, like a predator. But back then, if you're referring to like an animal, no, not so much. So that's why he continues to say like a hunter, like in the original script.
Dutch tries a different tactic by using the environment to set a trap for whatever is hunting them. As they sit and wait, Dutch thinks that his trap's not going to work, but it's automatically sprung. Whatever they have caught desperately tries to escape, shooting wildly.
So, 2 facts. One is, if you've noticed that Carl Weathers and Schwarzenegger look really ripped all the time in this movie, that's because at 4 o'clock in the morning, before they would shoot, they would go and they would work out hardcore and they would try to outdo each other. And they would just get really pumped, their muscles get pumped up, and they would just get really dehydrated and sweat out all that water and just have a really rugged soldier look. Which maybe back in the day that was believable, but nowadays it's not, because I'm in the Army and our soldiers do not look like that. I don't even look like that anymore. I looked way better when I was a civilian. This is trash. I don't have Arnold arms. I want Arnold arms. Anyways, I digress. The second fact is that the sound effects for the plasma caster going off is actually the sound of a whip cracking. And it's put through a sound filter. I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty cool how they just get random shit for movies and they're like, oh, we're going to make this the sound of that. How do you come up with that? But anyways, let's get back to the show.
Mac, consumed by rage and vengeance of the death of Blaine, chases after the creature. Dylan tells Dutch that he'll go after Mac, and that Dutch should take the others and head straight to the helicopter.
Don't leave it. He didn't kill you because you weren't armed. No sport.
Now, this is a lore fact. So, Schwarzenegger says that he didn't, or tells Anna that the creature didn't kill her because she wasn't armed. This is true. In the Yautja Extended Universe lore, the predators only kill things that are a threat or that would be honorable kills. So even, let's say, a woman had a knife, it wouldn't find, not saying women are weak, but compared to the creature thinks it's not an honorable kill, so leave it alone. Even if a woman is armed, but for some reason she's disabled or just not strong, still won't kill her because it's not an honorable kill. Same goes for children. They're not allowed to kill children. Only honorable kills, or else they'd be dishonored and banished from their tribe. There's some little facts for you.
Dylan catches up to Mac. Mac shows Dylan where the creature is. Dylan tells him that they can do this. They come up with a plan and go their separate ways to ambush the creature. But the creature is smarter than they thought. He catches them both off guard.
Another special effects fact, and this is why I love the cheap, low-budget route for practical effects. So originally they thought, okay, we need to make a special type of laser sight for this creature. And they're like, okay, well, how about we just tape 3 laser pointers together and do that? And they're like, oh, yeah, that'll work. So the creature's freaking laser is just 3 regular laser pointers taped together. I mean, how cheap can you get? And it's perfect, and it works super well. It's an iconic laser sight, and everybody knows what it is. You see those 3 dots, you always think of the Predator.
When the remaining survivors hear Dylan's cries, Billy realizes that there's no point in running. He discards his weapon, takes off his body armor, unsheathes his machete, and prepares to confront the creature.
So, more facts. In the original script, Billy was supposed to have a basically sword fight with the Predator. But with crunch time coming down on the filming and the fact that how the creature's suit was designed, when Kevin Peter Hall had the mask on, he couldn't see. So he was always talked through his movements, and that's why you don't really see him that much with his mask on. And if you do see him with the mask on, he's pretty much just staying in place, or he makes tiny movements. But that's another reason why it didn't happen, because the choreography would take too long, and not being able to see and trying to connect, and it would just probably look really fake. So they just scrapped that whole idea, which is a real shame, because when you see him pull that machete and you're just like, oh, this is about to be badass, and then you just, no, I'm like, damn, that sucks. But it would have been really cool to see.
Continuing his hunt, the creature kills Pancho and then aims towards Dutch next.
2 facts. 1, the scene where Schwarzenegger gets shot by the plasma caster. Everyone's always asked, okay, how the hell did Blaine get blasted through the chest and then fucking Pancho get blasted in the neck and die, but yet Schwarzenegger's shoulder freaking survives? He doesn't shoot him in the shoulder. If you just watch that sequence, just go back and forth, the plasma caster actually hits his weapon, splits it in half, and you see shrapnel go into his shoulder. That's what happens. A lot of people miss that. I saw that first try. I mean, you can also see it because when he falls backwards, the front of the weapon goes forward and then he throws the rest of it back. But if you didn't catch that, then I don't know, you're oblivious. But also, the infamous "get to the chopper!" That, to this day, is Schwarzenegger's most favorite one-liner. And he says it all the time.
Disarmed with no way to fight back, Dutch makes a run for it. As the creature chases him, Dutch plunges himself off of a cliff and into the water below.
Another fact, being the badass that Schwarzenegger is, he himself wanted to jump off this cliff because it's, something he'd never done before. He thought it'd be cool. Everyone advised against it, and he's like, fine, whatever. So they get the stuntman to do it. It's a good thing Schwarzenegger didn't, because when the stuntman fucking dove in, he ended up blowing out his knee, and they had to get a different stuntman for the rest of the movie.
While resting on shore, the creature is right on Dutch's tail. As the creature emerges, Dutch prepares for the worst, as he is not armed and has no way to fight back. But once he realizes that the creature is not paying him any mind, it is because that he cannot see him.
Some more facts. The biggest fact is that, thank God, Arnold Schwarzenegger had such a big influence on the making of this movie, because when you're making a movie and your lead actor is like, we should change this, you're not going to say no. The original creature for Predator was basically like an insect lizard type thing. It had like praying mantis sides, a long neck. Arnold Schwarzenegger described it as a praying mantis crossed with a lizard crossed with a duck. It had a long neck and like a bill. Well, that's because they chose a studio that was really, really cheap and just starting up because they wanted to save money for the production. Schwarzenegger convinced them not to, and even forked over some of his own money to hire Stan Winston at $1.5 million. Stan Winston got the inspiration for the design from a painting of a Rastafarian warrior. On his way to a showing of Aliens in Japan, because it hadn't released yet, with James Cameron saw him drawing this, and he's like, I always wanted to add mandibles onto a creature or something, because that'd be really cool. And so Stan Winston was like, that's a good idea. And that's why he put mandibles onto the Predator. Thank God for that redesign, because that would have been freaking ass, seeing a freaking praying mantis lizard duck coming out of the fucking water. Second fact, the scene where Schwarzenegger has mud on him, the director and stuff warned him that he would get very cold if he was completely shirtless and stuff like that he didn't have his clothes on. He's like, nah, I'll be fine. Well, they filmed it. And then after that, he was cold as fuck. In between takes, he was shivering uncontrollably. So, to warm himself up, what does a badass do? Makes a cocktail of vodka and schnapps and a little bit of niacin to keep that blood warm. It kind of worked, except for the fact that in between takes, he was just getting drunk. So, but he acted through it, and he gave us this perfect performance. Let's continue with the rest of the show.
Realizing that the creature has weaknesses, Dutch fastens traps once again out of the surroundings, and fashions weapons as well, and prepares for the final confrontation.
Woo! I love that shit. Love this freaking movie. Oh, pumps me up. So, if you've seen the movie, you know how it ends. So please, drop in the comments what you like about the movie, what you don't like about the movie, and your favorite scene. If you haven't seen the movie, please go watch it. It's worth your time. Then come back here, drop in the comments what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and your favorite scene. Also, for the rating I'm giving this movie, just because the plot is good, everything about this movie is good. Nothing about it sucks in my eyes. Not a damn thing. So, I'm giving this movie a glorious 10 out of 10 because it freaking deserves it. Also, Schwarzenegger thought this would be his greatest achievement as far as action goes. But of course, as history shows, his greatest achievement ended up being T2. But I'll get to that in a later video in the future. So, please give this video a like if you enjoyed this. Give it a share it amongst your friends. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. The next video I'm going to be doing, or next review I'm going to be doing is on Predator 2 because I'm continuing on with the franchise. That's a great movie as well. So, once again, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching. And thank you for tuning in to my channel. Till next time.